Hey guys, welcome back to Paradise. Today we're up in the mountains and we are a little chilly, so we are going to be making some tomato soup with grilled cheese today. So come along and I'll show you how we make it on the cast iron. Alright, so this is pretty much all you're going to need to get started here. Make sure you have your cast iron and some firewood, and of course the puppy dogs to supervise to make sure you're doing it right. You'll have whatever bread you want and cheese for your grilled cheese sandwiches. Always garlic, and so we don't use like tomato soup from a can or anything like that. We pretty much always use either tomato paste or tomato sauce. So pretty much all we're going to do is just put that in there, and you're just going to add water. So you're going to need your tomato paste, tomato sauce, anything like that, some water, a can opener to open that, and some oil just for your bread. So the first thing we're going to do is get the fire started, and then we're actually going to cook the bread first, and then we'll do the soup afterwards. Alrighty, as you see there, we got our fire going, so we're going to start with the grilled cheese. So pretty much you're just going to slice your cheese on top here, and you'll put the oil down first, and then you're going to put that on, and just put your top on. And then once that gets crispy, you can flip it over, and if the cheese hasn't quite melted on top yet, you can actually, sometimes when you flip it over, you can take this piece and flip it over as well, so then the already toasted side's on the inside. That'll help melt the cheese more, and if you like your bread really toasted, that's a good way to kind of toast both sides. You can also do it directly on the grate. It's not suggested though, because you're pretty much just going to have pretty much no flame and just kind of cook it on coals if you do that, because otherwise it's going to burn your bread and not cook your cheese. So not recommended. So we're going to put it in the cast iron. So we're going to pretty much heat that up real quick, and then once that's melted, we'll just throw the soup or the tomato paste and water into the cast iron. So pretty much we won't be adding any more wood over on top of this because the cast iron's already hot. So therefore it's a low fuel food here. So let me get the oil on and we'll throw the grilled cheese on. And you don't need to go crazy on the oil, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan here so your bread doesn't stick. There we go. I'm going to put the lid on and let that cook for couple minutes, depending on how hot your cast iron already is, and then you can just flip it over in a few minutes. So now the trick with making pretty much any kind of soup with any kind of side with like grilled cheese or anything like that is trying to get them both done at the same time, so you can actually eat them both warm, especially when you're making it for at least two people, because it takes a little more time and space in order to make that food and make it all be warm at the same time. So in one of my previous videos, I showed you just kind of like how to set up your cast iron and get it ready for cooking on fire and stuff. So in that video I mentioned, like, if you make tomato soup, sometimes you can like put a rock underneath the cast iron and you can tilt it so the soup is cooking down at the bottom, and you can put your grilled cheese up top, so it'll kind of be cooking at the same time. Therefore it'll be pretty much guaranteed to be warm at the same time. But really doesn't work out for us too often, because we're both eating, so we need kind of two grilled cheeses, so it really can't fit two up top. It's pretty much going to dip down into the soup, which is pretty much makes it cold, so it defeats the whole purpose. So I'm doing it this way. Again, if you're one person, it's a lot. You could just tip the cast iron a little bit, just put a rock under the back, the soup will be down at the bottom, and your grilled cheese will be at top. Therefore it will be done at the same time. This way I just cook the bread first, so it'll pretty much be warm. And the soup that we're going to throw in there, tomato paste, it really doesn't take long to heat up, because the cast iron's already going to be really hot. So it'll only take like maybe a minute max to get the soup warm enough to start eat. So therefore your bread still won't be that cold when you start eating, but it will cool down a little bit. Alright, and there you go. That's kind of getting done there. So once it gets kind of brown and the cheese is melting on the inside, that's going to be just about done. And what you're going to want to do before that finishes cooking is you want to get your tomato soup or tomato sauce or tomato paste open, so you can dump it directly in there as soon as you get that off, so again, you don't waste any heat. And now before you open your can, make sure you always wipe the top off. I don't know about you guys, but ours always is full of gunk because we're on the back roads all the time, and there's always dust and stuff on there, so make sure to dust that off before you use the can opener to open it, because otherwise all that is going to be into your food. So once you get that open, what you're going to want to do is actually pour water into the cast iron first, because it's going to be really hot, so it's pretty much going to boil a lot of the water off. But it's because if you dump the tomato paste in, it's just going to boil that, and then you won't have any tomato paste. So pour a decent amount of water in there so it's a decent level, and then you're going to mix the tomato paste in with it. So this is kind of up to you if you want it thinner or thicker. Obviously, if you want it thicker, you can pretty much just leave it as a paste. That's pretty much tomato soup already. But we like it thin, and then it goes farther too. So we'll just add a lot of water to it and the paste, and then throw the garlic in right away as well. And there you have it, guys. Tomato soup and grilled cheese on the cast iron. There's lots of different varieties that you can mix with this. If you have any vegetables or anything, you could add carrots to it, you can add butternut squash, you can add pretty much any kind of squash, you can add yams, anything, and just kind of cook it down. Cook the vegetables before you put the tomato sauce in, and then that'll get cooked down a little bit, and you can actually usually like smash it to kind of like turns into like baby food, really pureed, and then it pretty much just blends in right with the tomato soup to give you a little more nutrition. And obviously if you have greens around, that always is good on top. So around here we got some greens that we're going to add on top of it. So there you have it. Make sure to subscribe. We got lots more cooking meals to come on the cast iron. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.